what is up, everyone? I am Joe DeHoyos. I'm host of Beyond the Woodline. I'm looking now because I'm sharing this out. Real quick before we get started, kind of want to let you guys know what's going on. In my world, I'm part of a group that's on. It's Live 365. It's an internet radio, so you can go back and find this show on there. The actual station is called Nighthawk Radio. You can tune in. They have all kinds of shows, different topics, different subjects. I think I'm one of two of the guys that have, all the cryptids and the paranormal stuff on. I think some guys they do the politics and just different subjects. I think there's some people they do all the car talk and stuff like that, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, man, you guys go and check us out. You can find us. Just type in live365.com and then find Nighthawk Radio. You can find us that way. Like I said, there's a bunch of great guys on there and a bunch of great shows on there too. So yeah, go check us out. And then also, I don't know how much longer I'm going to be doing this show. I've got other things going on in my life, and that I'm enjoying. So this stuff kind of takes up a lot of time, and it's a big commitment to keep doing this. So I might go maybe to once a month, the format, and kind of see how that goes. But yeah, so I know you guys don't tune in to hear me ramble on all night long. I want to introduce my two guests tonight. I have Jeremiah Fountain and Nick Valente. I don't know how you say your last name, Nick.
Valente.
Valente. Okay, cool, man. Yeah, so real quick, if you guys don't mind, and Nick, if you want to go first, tell us a little bit about yourself and what got you into this crazy subject that we're all involved in.
Well, I consider myself to be a cryptozoologist. I've taken two diploma courses on cryptozoology. I had to go to Europe to get those courses, but I took them. I have a bachelor's of science in zoology. I'm going for a master's right now because I always believe that you got to know about the animals that are real and that have been discovered out there before you can talk about cryptids, which a lot of the scientists out there just ignore. They say they don't exist, but 3-4 million people throughout the United States and the world don't all lie. They're not all looking for their 10 minutes of fame. But anyway, being a cryptozoologist, I'm also a Fortean researcher. That's after Charles Fort from 1920s. He was one of the original cryptozoologists way back when, who does the anomalous research. I try to research libraries, and not just off the internet, but libraries, old bookstores, microfiche from the libraries to look at newspapers. Any way I can get information on sightings of cryptids. Anyway, anyhow. I also do field research. A lot of people like to call it boots on the ground. It's a more of a military term. And by field research, I mean we actually go out there 6 to 26 miles out into a forested area. We don't just go 1 or 2 miles in. We go out there. We stay overnight, search the areas. I go out in a team, usually of 7, and we're fully equipped. I run the International Dogman Project, and we're a no-kill organization, but we do believe that we have a right to go into the forest and come back out safely and defend ourselves, because you're not, when you're out there, you don't find the cryptid. You might find footprints, claw marks, and whatnot, scat, but something else might find you. We're talking about big hairy spiders, wolf spiders, snakes, poisonous snakes, ticks, mosquitoes, bears, mountain lions, coyotes, you name it. I mean, there's a lot of things out there that can harm you. So you got to go out there, be prepared, take precautions. I try to teach people what to prepare and what to do. I mean, you just don't go out there, trekking out there 10, 12 miles in the sandals in short pants. That's not if you're looking for a cryptid. And I mean, if you happen to come across a Sasquatch or a Dogman and you decide that you're going to run like hell, sandals aren't going to do you any good. And they wouldn't do you any good anyway. They're going to outpace you. So you have to have other means to protect yourself. And like I said, I mean, I'll just pop this up here. Here's bear spray that we carry. And I carry these electronic flashbangs. I also carry holy water. I also carry black salt, white salt. We have these small miniature flamethrowers. I mean, the only way that I know of to defeat a Wendigo is fire. So you never know. You don't know what you're going to meet up out there in the forest area, or in the mountains, or in a cave, or whatnot, wherever you're at. So be prepared. Anyway, I just enjoy cryptozoology. Jay and I do it for the love of it, for the love of the science of cryptozoology. It's beautiful. Our close in cryptozoology family, fantastic people. You know, we met a lot of good folks out there, and you know, we don't do it for the money. We just do it for the love of the science.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and well, Jeremiah, man, we've been friends for a long time, you know, and
Long time.
yeah, man, too long. I can't even remember, and you know,
Probably
if you don't mind,
15 years, probably.
yeah, at least that, man. And you know, I think that's kind of goes to what Nick was saying. You know, met some great people, you know, and
Absolutely.
and you know, you're one of them. You know, one of the people that I consider a friend that I've met through this field. I've been lucky enough to meet some good people like, you know, Lupe and my friend Walter, and
Absolutely.
these are guys just like you're going to be my friends forever, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, real quick, why don't you give us a little rundown about yourself and, you know?
Yeah, sure. As you know, Joe, I've been in the field quite a while, almost 20 years now, 20 plus years. Started out with, you know, straight cryptozoology, with specializing in Bigfoot. You know, that was my thing throughout the years. I grew up in a logging family. We have lots of land up here, and it's pretty active. It's a pretty active area up here in the Adirondacks and upstate New York as it is. And you know, I'm right along with Nick. Like he said, I don't do it. I do it because I feel I have a duty as a researcher to try to bring the truth out and try to educate other people. You know, I don't do it for the money. I don't do it for the, you know, for the likes on Facebook or the, you know, whatever. It's just out of straight passion and out of a duty. Like I said, out of a duty I feel to bring the truth, try to bring the truth out. You know, and you know, always, you know, my wife and I have a small team up here. Along with like Nick said, our community in the field, you guys, you know, which is great. We're all great assets to each other as far as I'm concerned. A few years after being a Sasquatch investigator for quite a while, I hooked up with Nick about 6 years ago?
Yeah, about that now.
About 6 years ago, and Nick started to, you know, Nick's the founder of the International Dogman Project. I'm lucky enough to be, you know, I consider Nick a big brother. He's my best friend, and I'm lucky enough to have him. You know, he's letting me handle the IDP with him. It's an honor, you know, and he's taught me a lot about the whole Dogman field, and I'm very fortunate to have somebody to mentor me like that. And you know, because I didn't really know anything about the Dogman field. You know, it was all Sasquatch. You know, so. But that's about it. I'm 46 years old. I'm, you know, like I said, researcher, investigator. More importantly, a father and a husband. You know, I'm a hunter, fisherman, survivalist, and ex-professional martial artist.
Yeah.
Which, taking a little, maybe sometimes these people think when I say crazy stuff online, maybe he's taking too many blows to the head. You know.
Yeah, for sure, man. You know. So I don't know what's today's date. Well, so almost 2 weeks ago, I sent you a screenshot of a lady who sent me a message, and I'm gonna read it real quick so everyone else can hear it. I don't know if you told Nick about it, but I kind of want to discuss this. Okay. So she sent me the text message. It says, "Hey Joe, I just wanted to touch base with you because we just had a very weird encounter, and I want to tell you while it was fresh on my mind. My daughter and I were sitting outside on our porch, just talking and looking out at TikTok videos, and she looked over in the field and said, 'Mom, do you see that?' And I see what I believe is this crawler running across the field towards the conservation wetlands, and it's being chased by something. It was bipedal at first, but went down to all fours, and it wasn't white at all. It was dark, and to me it looked dog/coyote like. I
Hmm.
wasn't that close, and it was dark, but that's what it resembled to me. I am at a loss for words. Have you ever heard something like this before? Are we going crazy? What is happening in our neighborhood?
Right.
Now, for reference, she actually saw one of these crawlers like 2 or 3 years ago, and that was
Okay.
the only time she ever saw it. But she kind of felt like they were in the area after that, um,
Right.
and that she thinks that they kind of go and come from that area. That maybe they migrate. She's not really sure. Um, have you guys have any witnesses or any kind of encounters with these
Yeah.
crawler things?
Nick and I interviewed a gentleman. We've interviewed him twice now. Once about 3 weeks ago, and then once about a year ago. He's got a pretty interesting story. And how'd that go, Nick? He was out squatching, right? And this crawler popped up out of nowhere and started crawling like a spider straight towards him. And this is going to blow your mind, Joe. What saved him was the Sasquatches he had been researching. The alpha male of that Sasquatch group came out, let off a howl, guttural beller scream in the air, and actually scared this crawler away.
Yeah, and it seems to me that uh, not just Squatch, but also dogmen don't like these things, and they will chase them
Right.
off or get them out.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, and this is just my opinion, I'm thinking that's what was chasing this thing out of the area. Was the
Dogman.
dogman? Yeah, and that's what I think because she said it was a
That's
bipedal
what
at
we
first.
thought. Yeah.
Was that Nick?
That's what Jay and I thought also at the time.
Okay.
And I have to tell you, I had a report of a similar thing. A lady was walking her a retriever dog. It's a white retriever, and she was in the woods, same path she took every day with the dog, and a crawler came out, and this thing reared up at her, went on bipedal, and she screamed, and like the other fellow, he was saved by a squatch. She was actually saved by a dog man, something I have
Wow.
never heard of.
Right. Yeah.
Dog man came out snarling,
Mhm.
snarling after this thing, jumped on it, threw it, and it hit a tree. And I guess these things are pretty strong too, because it hit the tree, bounced, and ran, and the dog man ran after it. And she's never seen it again, and she's never seen the dog man again either. But
Huh.
she doesn't take that path all the way in anymore.
Yeah.
And from now on, she goes in armed. Uh, she's former Air Force, police, and she now carries a 45 with her. So when she
Yeah.
goes out there, but she hasn't seen it since. It's been a little bit over a year now.
Yeah, and at least it seems from what I've heard, whether it's from witnesses from that have talked to me or from different other podcasts, that
Uh,
these, like I said, Bigfoot and Dogman, it's almost personal, right? It's almost like we don't even
Hmm.
like these things, and it's not so much. I guess they are protecting people, but it's like they just see these things and they don't want them in the area. And I wonder why. Do you guys have any kind of theory on that?
I've been thinking about that too, Joe, and I had no clue. Maybe it's a competition thing for resources.
Maybe, yeah.
Could be. That's the only thing that really pops to mind right away. Maybe they prey on. I mean, this is far out there, but I'm going to say it. Maybe they're a danger to baby Sasquatches, baby dogmen.
yeah,
That
it's
could be another big thing.
territorial, I think.
Right.
I think it's territorial, and the dogmen say, "This is my territory. Don't be in it."
Mhm.
And Sasquatch, the same thing, probably. But I don't know. I think Sasquatch are on an intelligence level that's a little bit above
Yeah,
the other cryptids, and I think they can think about it more. Dogman, I
Yeah.
believe, is just instinctive.
Right.
Right off the bat, you're in my area, out of here, and they just go after. I mean, he ignored the lady and the dog and went right after this thing.
Right. And see, yeah, that's exactly what the lady that we because we had a really long conversation, and she said
Oh,
that if that's what it was, the dog man, she goes, if that's what it was, that he paid no attention to them at all, her daughter.
yeah.
That it was like laser focused on this
Right.
crawler. She's like, do you think I should worry about it? I said, if the dog men are in the area, they haven't messed with you yet, I wouldn't worry about it.
Right.
And like I said, they live right next to a conversation. conservation area. So
Yeah.
so it's a pretty big landmass. And I said, they probably got plenty of food out there, and they're not going to come mess with you.
For sure. I told you my daughter saw which he thought was a rake or a crawler, Joe, a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I want to talk about that.
She was sitting on her, and I told you too, Nick. I called you up after it happened.
Yeah,
She called me, and she was out of her mind.
Mhm.
And she was, she calls me Jay. I'm her stepfather. But I look at her as a daughter,
Right.
And she calls me Jay. Jay, you're not gonna believe what I just saw. I'm like, try me. Come on,
I love it when people start that. Like, just tell me.
Who are you talking to here? She said she heard it. She felt like she was being. They live in a pretty well-to-do neighborhood, and you get punch a code in to get in, and behind the house is. I think to be honest with you, Joe, like you were saying, it's a protected forest area, right behind right behind their complex. So she was sitting on this porch smoking a cigarette, and she heard a scream, a high pitched scream. And she turned around, and this thing was 50 feet away from her, walking straight towards her on 2 legs, on 2 feet. It wasn't down on the ground like we were just talking about, but it was on 2 legs, and it was kind of. She said when it walked, it shoulders bobbed back and forth like that, and she ran in the house immediately, locked the door, and ran upstairs. And she said it was the most terrifying thing she's ever experienced in her life. I'm gonna try to get her to come on with you some night, Joe. She can tell you her story.
Human walking a cocky guy,
Yes.
they kind of shake a little bit.
Yes.
Walking. That is the oddest thing.
Yeah.
I think I would use the flamethrower on that one.
Yeah, there you go.
The other stuff, well, maybe the bear spray first, but just to see the reaction.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's same thing with the Wendigo. That's the reason why we carry those mini flamethrowers, is because that's Wendigo with flame.
So let me ask you this, Nick. So with the Wendigos, are there certain regions that they're spotted in?
Yeah.
Okay, can you elaborate?
I have a cousin who's married to a First Nations person up in Canada, and I spoke to her husband several times, more than several times. He likes the coffee we have down here, Black Rifle coffee, and I'll bring it up, and we'll sit down for hours into 3-4 o'clock in the morning talking, and he can put down that coffee. And whereas the Native Americans in the United States will not talk to me because I'm not Native. They may talk to Jay, but they will not talk to me at all. Up there, they will talk to me, and he's one of them. And he was telling me about the Wendigos. Now, to answer your question, yes, it's basically right above where Jay lives in the northeastern area of Canada. So the east coast of Canada and up north. I mean, that's where you'll see them in other areas, yes. But that's the main area where there's so many reports over there. Okay. And the Native Americans cannot stand these things.
No.
And the Canadian First Nation people, they're the same way. They believe that they're pure evil.
So yeah,
and even though I'm part Native, I still have a hard time getting that info out of them sometimes. They just do not like to talk about it.
So I actually have a friend of mine who's Navajo, and he talks about all this stuff, and he's gotten a lot of flack from the other natives, and not even just from Navajos, from everyone. Like, hey, quit talking about it. But he's like, everyone needs to know about this stuff. So if you guys ever want to talk to him, I'll send him your way.
But you know why? Generally, the Native American Indians don't want to talk. Is because they believe if you say say Wendigo or the way I can't pronounce it the way they can, but if you say that, it'll come after them and their family. They're very superstitious about that.
Yeah.
And they'll get the evil and they'll get the bad luck. So they do not want to talk. But I remember the first time I was down in Texas, right actually near the Mexican border, all the way west. I was trying to speak to these Native Americans there, and they just turned around and left. No, not trying to be rude or anything. They did not want to talk about it. They didn't want to hear it. They don't want to say the word. They don't want to know nothing.
Yeah.
I noticed that a lot of the Navajo will talk about it, though. Not to me, but like I've seen it on television.
Okay.
If you ever watched, I guess you guys have watched Skinwalker Ranch.
Oh yeah.
They have the Navajo Indian over there.
Yep.
They'll do the scientific experiments with them and other paranormal experiments with them, and it's usually Navajo. It's not the other tribes, but even the other tribes, definitely.
Let's see. Someone says, "Hey, does anyone use things like noisemakers or bear mace to protect against Dogman or Sasquatch?"
That's what I just said. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Here, I'll show you again.
Yeah.
This is what we all carry. I have two things that I use. I'll use this. This is a electronic flashbang.
I love that thing.
165 decibels, and the lights. These are 1200 lumens. They'll flash. All right. I also have a sonic whistle. This is a supersonic whistle. You blow it, and that'll disrupt them too. It'll disrupt a dog, a wolf, because it goes so high pitched. I mean, if you have enough breath, you can make this up to about 170 decibels, and that's going to annoy them. So we try to use everything, Joe, to our advantage to keep ourselves safe.
Yeah, for sure. And so the reason why I was asking about the certain region, I have a guy down here in Texas, and he lives. It's maybe a 3-hour drive north of Houston. It's not quite to Dallas, because from Houston to Dallas is like a 4-hour drive.
Right.
So it's kind of in East Texas, actually. It's like right where all the forest is at. He had a lot of Bigfoot activity on his property, but him and his girlfriend were talking to me about this one time, and she was like, "Hey," she's like, "one night we were at the property and we were backing the truck up." She goes, "And we saw this creature in the tail lights. It had antlers."
Mm-hmm.
So what was that? And she said it scared the hell out of them, and they took off like a bat out of hell, right?
Yeah.
Have you guys heard of anything like that this far south?
Not that far south. I haven't. Nick may have.
Well, was it a deer or was it bipedal?
It was bipedal, but it was standing up on 2 feet. Yeah, she said it was big.
That has to have been a Wendigo then.
Yeah.
I do have in my archives reports from people in Arizona and New Mexico reporting Wendigos. Well, like I said, the basic, they're clustered more in the northeast of Canada, though. That's where so many reports are, come in from them. And I should back up and tell you, Joe, that like the International Dogman Project, we get anywhere from 10 to 45 calls or text messages or emails or Facebook messages a week. And people will give us leads or tell us stories or, shoot me stuff to tell me that, hey, this is what I saw. And if I get a lot of reports in the same area, then that helps me put, in my mind, say, look, I'm going to have to get a team and we're going to have to investigate it. Because a lot of times if I get like 5, 6, 7 reports, all within a 2-3 week period in the same area, I know something's going on around there.
Mm-hmm.
So try to get a team up and we just go down there.
Yeah. It just seems to me like because like even the crawlers, I've only heard of them very, very few sightings here in Texas, but it seems to be something that's popping up more and more.
Yeah. Well, Jay, the night crawlers, remember those coming out of California?
Oh, the Fresno crawlers?
Yeah, the Fresno crawlers.
Yeah.
Right. Oh, yeah.
I mean, look, just like mountain lions, Joe. You got mountain lions down south, and people say, "Oh, you don't have any in Maine."
Yeah.
Well, geez, guys, about 6 years ago, I went up to visit the members of the Dogman Project up in Maine, and we had a group of us up there. We went into a forested area. We were looking for Dogman because they had sightings up there. And what did we come across? We came across big mountain lion prints.
Yeah.
Then a little bit further on, And one of the ladies that works for the Cryptid Museum up there, she found scat, mountain lion scat, and she collected it. She took it back and she had it analyzed. And sure enough, it was mountain lion scat.
Mm-hmm.
It was absolutely amazing. Something else I want to mention that she found up there was a moose spinal column.
Oh.
And she packed that up real nice and neatly. But I mean, it was big. Jay, it was big.
Yeah.
It was really big. To see the bones out there like that. That was absolutely amazing. Something else up in Maine, which people don't realize, it's so close to, like the outer skirts of the United States that, Russia's really close. We had, I guess you would call it stations up there that we monitored Russia, and they're now all abandoned, and we couldn't resist. It said do not enter, but we did. And we went in there, we went in the buildings and everything. And I'm going to tell you, it's one time that I'm glad that I carry several flashlights, high-powered flashlights, because it was dark in there. I mean, we went all over we went in their computer room. We went in every room in that. I mean, it was phenomenal to see the inside of this government, formerly a government facility. And you could see when you went outside, they had silos there, and they had buried the silos. I posted pictures. I think I still have the pictures at the time. And also, when you looked up, you had maybe miles and miles of wiring. I guess it was antenna type wiring. And they used to monitor, Russian activity, air activity or anything, I guess, missiles, airplanes and whatnot. But, when you're out there doing field investigation, you never know what you're going to pop up on. And like I said, Joe, come on, all the way up there, a mountain lion? I guess you really can't tell, but my fist, all right, this thing was bigger than my fist. The print.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The print of this thing, it must have been a male, and it must have been huge.
They do the same. They do the same thing in New York too. They say we don't have the DEC says we don't have them in the Adirondacks, but anyone that lives here will tell you we have them.
Yeah,
so they do the same thing here. They deny it.
Yeah, and the point I'm trying to get at is you might have a ton of Wendigo reported up in northern Canada, northeastern Canada. But that doesn't mean they're not down. It doesn't mean they don't travel.
Right.
They're all over the place. I bet you can find them in Wisconsin and Wyoming and Washington State.
Sure.
I bet you can find them all over the place.
Yeah.
It's just you got to be unlucky enough to come across one.
Yeah. For sure.
Wow. That's something though what they saw. My gosh.
So let's shift gears a little bit, if you guys don't mind. I know you guys are both also involved with the Dogman Project. Tell us a little bit about that, and have you guys had any experiences or any really close, I guess you could say, encounters with the Dogman?
Nick, you want to go first? You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, Joe. Stacy and I back in you remember we were talking back then. Remember when we were building our cabin on the land, and we were living in the camper.
Right.
We're coming down the road one night, and she's flying. Stacy's got a lead foot, so I said, "Stacy, slow down. You're gonna hit whatever that is on the side of the road." She's like, "What are you talking about?" And she looked up and she slammed the brakes on, and on the side of the road is it built like a basketball player. Brown, tall, probably 7.5 feet, long snout, tall ears. It did not, and this is the weird thing. I've told Nick this several times. It did not have legs like a dog. It was bipedal, and it had legs more like a Sasquatch.
Right, like a human.
They didn't have the back. There was no backward haunches. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it jumped out in the middle of the road, turned, looked at us for a second. And we could see the saliva coming out of its mouth and everything. It's like we were probably 30, 40 feet away from it. It's right at the front of our car. Turned, hit all fours, and ran onto our side of the property. Now, in 2021, I went down there to do some turkey hunting, and I have a picture of this. Nick's seen the picture, and I'll send it to you, Joe, after. Or maybe I did already send it to you. That gray one? Or I'll send it to you again. But I'm walking back from my turkey spot. Nothing was active. And I felt like I was being watched, and I'm carrying a 12 gauge, and had my pistol on my hip, and I felt like I was being watched, and I looked to my left, and there's a friggin' dogman, a gray dogman standing there, okay, and it's got its arms wrapped around a dead deer like this, holding it up, and you can see the bowels of the deer hanging out onto the ground.
Wow.
And it makes me wonder, if, and they damn well know what guns are too, because it noticed that gun and it didn't make a move. Makes me wonder, if I didn't have that gun and he didn't have that deer, would I have been lunch? You know what I mean?
Right.
It's a disturbing thing to think about. And this one was gray, very similar looking to the other one, same type of legs, same deal. But he was just gray and looked to be a little bit smaller than the other one. But he had a dead deer wrapped up in his arms, and that was disturbing enough. And I turned around and walked backwards, and he followed me out. He didn't follow me on his legs, but followed me with his eyes the whole way I was backing out. So I was gonna let him, like Nick said, we have a right to go in the woods safe and come out safe, So I was gonna give it to him if he came towards me.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that's those are my experiences with Dogman right there.
As for me, with 23 years doing cryptozoology, I never heard of a dogman until the year 2013. It was September 13th, 2013. Coming home from work, we were doing our requalifications 3 days in a row, so I hadn't been home in 3 days, and it was like a good 20-hour days. We were doing requalifications because I was working for a private contracting company, and I'm driving home saying, you know what, instead of going around a circle, I'm going to make a right-hand turn here. This is in New Jersey, and go straight up the mountain. It'll cut 20 minutes off my drive time. The only problem is at the top of the mountain, there's a big forested area, and also, I guess you would call it a recreation area. It's called. It's just a huge recreation area in the center that they created out of the forest, I have to say. Watchung Reservation is the name of the place. Lenape Indian tribes used to be up there. I find out a year later that there was actually a burial ground up there that they keep quiet. People go hiking through there. There's water up there. There's a lot of stuff. But like I said, it's mainly in the center. They have an oval. And in the center of that oval is a huge grass area where people can play soccer, they picnic there. You've got areas where there's grills, there's swing sets. Anyway, it's 11:30 at night, Joe. I reached the top of the hill. I hit the oval. I have to come around the oval. I'm in my Jeep, and I've got KC highlighters. They're like 500,000 candle power. I'm lighting it up because there's no light up there. And as I'm coming around the oval, there's a stop sign at the end of the street. Right next to the stop sign, I see a small bicycle. And next to that small bicycle is a large, dark shape. And I'm saying, in my mind, what the heck? That must be a bear, a black bear. But I'm pretty far away. But I'm lighting it up. And I'm driving up to it. And I stop approximately 30 feet away from it. This thing did not move, but it's next to a bicycle. And I'm saying to myself, small bicycle, maybe a small kid, and this thing was holding something in its right claw. I want to say claw because I couldn't see the nails or anything. I find out the next day, because I went back the next day with a full team of guys, fully jocked up. We had our guns and everything because I wanted to track this down. But at the time when I saw it, I didn't know the thing was 7 foot 7 inches tall. To me, it was extremely muscular, and I would say it weighed about 650 pounds. Mm-hmm. Now remember, there's 7 different types of dogman, and I didn't get to see the feet because it was very dark and everything. But it was standing there with its right hand side shoulder to me, looking off to its left. And in its right claw was, I find out later, it was a part of a deer. I thought it was a human being. I step out of my car with pepper spray in my left hand, 10 millimeter Glock in my right hand, and I'm lighting this thing up. I mean, the thing ignored me, Joe. It ignored me like I didn't count. I was nothing. It never looked at me, never grunted, didn't do a darn thing. I could smell a little bit of, it smelled like blood and urine. And that's about all I could smell. I'm looking at this thing. And it wasn't just about 10 or 15 seconds. It was about a minute and 10 seconds.
It's a long time.
Yeah, it just stood there chewing. And it actually brought its hand back up to its mouth, took a bite, and went back down. And then after a little bit over a minute, it just walks off. Now, it was not a spirit because I could hear its feet crunching on the leaves and crunching on the twigs and branches and everything that was on the ground. And it disappeared behind some bushes that were over there. And after it disappeared, I said, okay, I mean, I'm not going to fire on the thing. It wasn't threatening me or anything, but I didn't know what this thing was. Joe, I didn't know at the time. In 2013, I didn't know what a dogman was. I knew what a werewolf was. And to me, a werewolf is generally the same size, maybe an inch taller than the human that got turned into a werewolf. But this thing was well over 7 feet. And the reason why I said it is because the stop sign that the bicycle was chained up to, we came back the next day and that stop sign was 8 feet tall, the top of the stop sign. And in my mind, I saw where its head was, on the word stop. So we measured it with a tape measure the next day, and 7 feet, 7 inches. But it walked off. And after it did that, I'm looking, checking my 6 and everything. I got back into my Jeep. I said, this thing might try to circle around me. But what I also saw was off into the distance in the sky, I saw a orb, white colored orb in the sky. So I don't know, we got two things going here, a cryptid and then we got a UFO phenomenon at the same time. Now that was the first time I saw a dogman. It took me close to a year to find out what the heck it was. I hit the libraries, I hit bookstores. I tried to find something similar to this thing. And finally I did find it. And I've been fortunate enough to actually get a glimpse of a dogman 2 more times. And the second time was in the land between the lakes in Kentucky with a buddy of mine. We went down there, and D.A. Roberts, he and I were in my vehicle. We were in the land of lakes, Kentucky, and we had been traveling the roadways in LBL Park in Kentucky for like 3 days. On the last day, we did it in the morning time. We usually go at nighttime, 12, 1 o'clock at night and everything. We went to Nickel Cemetery, and at Nickel, I should back up now. Yeah, at Nickel Cemetery, we didn't see, but we heard a large object or creature, whatever, to our 2 o'clock. We're standing in Nickel Cemetery, looking right at the cemetery from the road, and to our 2 o'clock, we saw something shaking the brush. And I whipped my light out and hit that area. And the next thing we know, it must have been about 3-4 seconds later, and about 150 feet to our left at about our 10 o'clock, the brush was shaking over there now at that point. So, I mean, we didn't get to see anything, but I don't know what the heck that was that can run that fast straight across. Now, something I want to say is that at LBL, Kentucky, we saw no squirrels, no rabbits, no birds, tons of bugs, yes, but no snakes, no deer, no nothing. Now, on that third day, in the morning, we took a drive through again, and on the way out, DA tells me, Nick, stop. I stop, and I saw something out of the peripheral vision. It was dark, and it was near a tree. I didn't get a full-on vision of it. He did. So I stopped. We got out of the vehicle like a bunch of dummies. What are we going to do? Grab this thing? And, he goes, did you see that? I said, I saw something large. I said, what was it? A bear? And he goes, oh, that was a dog, man. It was right. And it was near a tree, and it was heavy forested area. It went downwards because their land sloped downwards. And the leaves, I mean, they don't pick up leaves in the forest area over there. The leaves must have been about a foot high. and this thing just took right off. And for us to go even try to chase after it to get a picture of it or whatever, never. It wouldn't have happened. Because first of all, we didn't grab our firearms to take with us, and second of all, you never know. We may have slipped down, because it was a pretty good slant to go down the hill and everything. So I mean, I got a couple of cases where I actually got a glimpse, but the very first time that was something. That was something. I got it dead on. So and from then on, I've been investigating it. I mean, I investigate all the cryptids just like Jay does. We do a podcast on it. It's called the Cryptid Consortium. On different cryptids. We usually have one each week on that. But and it's just interesting. Cryptozoology is just so interesting.
It's amazing.
Yeah. Get into it. It's really something.
Yeah, and as far as a dogman goes, it's actually a pretty big cryptid here in Texas. As much as we have Bigfoot sightings, we have just as many dogman sightings, especially around in between Austin and San Antonio, which is called the Hill Country here in Texas. Yeah, there's a lot of that stuff over there. Dogman sightings, anyway. There is some Bigfoot sightings there, but for the most part, it's like dogman territory here in Texas.
Wow.
From doing the research and reading the lore, from the Native American Indians that have been written down, I find that in the southern states that they protect the Native American burial grounds.
Mm-hmm.
And there are stories of the trappers from, oh God, way back in the 1400s, 1500s, the French trappers that would go up the different rivers, trapping beaver pelts and this and that, and they come along upon the different tribes, and they're warned not to go near the burial grounds, and they know very well that they bury the Native Americans bury their dead with precious metals and like I guess rubies, diamonds, whatever. And stones, and a lot of the times they go after the grave sites. They dig them up. They they desecrate the graves. But these trappers used to keep, I guess, journals, and they would write what was going on at the time. And some of them have them published, through their families and other people. I came across a journal that was in a library down there in Texas when I was there a couple of times. And it tells about, they had a translation with it. He's telling about when he and his fellow trappers actually desecrated some of these graves and took the precious stones and some of the metals. And what he did, he just threw them all away, but he kept one. And he found out that over the years, all of his fellow trappers that were on this one trip with him, they all died in a horrible, horrific way. 10 years later, I guess it caught up to him. He kept one piece, one stone he kept. And 10 years later, his daughter writes down that he was found torn apart in his small cabin. And it was in a little village in the United States and all the way down there. So it's like, don't mess with them.
You shouldn't pick that stuff up off a burial site anyway,
Oh yeah. We've kind of talked about or at least brought up Native Americans and the things that they believe in and the things they have going on around their land. So my friend that I'll tell you about, the guy who's Navajo, we kind of had to talk about that and like, why is it where all these reservations are at? This is happening, right? And we got to talking about that. We got pretty deep, and we both came to the conclusion that was probably part of the reason why they got put there, because the white man didn't want to deal with that stuff. What do you guys think about that theory? It was something I had never thought about until he brought it up, because we think that's why they put us here. These creatures, beings, entities, whatever you want to define them as, this is where they're at. They don't want that land. Y'all guys, that's where we're putting you at.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah.
At all.
I'll tell you, part of being a Fortean researcher, I do try to delve deep, do a deep dive into the history of the different areas where they were seen. And I don't mean just one or two or three. I mean, they always tell you that to verify, have at least 4 points of verification. I try to have even more than that. I try to do it until it's dry and you can't get anything else. And I don't know, Joe. I don't know if the white man is actually believing in a lot of that, and I just think that they did a bad thing and just took their land and, without proper compensation, and they did some bad things over the years. And
horrible.
It is really horrible what they did, and I mean, Native Americans are the original Homeland Security. Really look at it.
Yeah.
It's just really horrible what they did. And, over the years, so many things have been done against them. So, I mean, I'm first generation here. My dad and mom came over from Europe. So I can't speak to that. I mean, none of my people have done anything to them, but I still, when I read about it, it's just horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, sure is.
So what do you guys have going on right now? Do you guys have any investigations going on?
Well, I always have stuff coming into the IDP, depending on where it's coming from. We do have different chapters in different states. We don't have chapters in every state, right, Jay? I mean,
no. It says 17, 18, I think.
Well, we have a total of 19 chapters, but 2 of them are over in Europe.
That's right. Yeah.
IDP Europe, IDP UK.
UK. Yeah.
We used to have IDP Nordic countries, but something happened. I don't know what happened, but Facebook is a funny thing. And
It's very
one day it was there, and one day it was gone.
Yeah.
And the young lady that I used to run that with, she has no idea why it's gone. She thought maybe I took it off the Facebook, but I didn't do it, and I know she didn't do it because we were both, keeping it up. But anyway, we do have about 17 throughout the United States, and depending on where an account comes in, and mind you, it may not only be Dogman. I might get like a Mothman sighting, a frogman, Lakeland frog. You might get some sort of a swamp beast down in the Florida swamps, chupacabra sightings, Sasquatch sightings. I mean, you get tons of Dogman and Sasquatch sightings. Depending on how many we get in one place, Joe, like I said, if we get too many, I'll call the people who are in charge of our local chapter, see if they can get people to go out there and check it out. And, they'll do it. I mean, there's been many occasions where I ran up with a team up to Pennsylvania to check out some Dogman sightings. And, we did get some good prints and some good claw marks off of trees. We photographed that stuff. Never find the Dogman, but I mean, stories that the people told us what happened. And it's funny, like there was this one street I guess it's right dead center in Pennsylvania where we went. It's above, God, Jay, where is that Wolf Lodge located?
Oh God.
It's right above that area.
Yeah.
Not in that area, but right above it. And there was a main street there. I don't want to give the street's name away because they had enough problems at the time when I did say it. But there was a T intersection, and we had over 7 different people. I don't want to say people, but 7 different subjects. Different families of people, individuals, Joe, husband, wives, families that saw Dogmen in that area crossing a road from one cornfield right across a road into another cornfield. Oh, and then we had a husband and wife that were driving their car, and the wife smacks her husband on the arm and says, look out my window here as he's driving. He's doing 35. There's a Dogman keeping pace with their car.
That's right.
I told you about that one, Jay.
Yeah.
He hit it. He got up to 45. It's still keeping pace. He hit it again, and this thing clawed their car, and they had claw marks on their car. And it's not a bear because a black bear claw marks are about as thick as my hand. These claw marks were wide apart.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they're wider. That's the difference between a dogman's claw marks, you can tell, versus a black bear. Now, if it's a brown bear is about, God, Jay, what is it, about 22 inches across their feet?
Yeah.
They're huge.
Yeah.
So you know the difference. But I did take a team up there, and we brought 2 6-wheel gators up there so that we can go through the area because there was a lot of snow at the time. We found prints in the snow, and we found claw marks on a lot of the trees. So you see, but we do investigate it, and we do interview the people before we go. Because you got to understand, it costs a lot of money to transport 7 guys, 2 gators, those are, 6-wheel drive vehicles, and, just going up there and everything and feeding everybody. So you really got to be certain. And I talk to these people individually, either on the phone or like we're doing right now, on a webcam, sometimes just email going back and forth. People don't really, they want to report it, some people, but they don't really want to put themselves on the line.
Yeah.
Sometimes, but the people whose car got clawed, they wanted us up there. Yeah. They wanted to know what the heck's going on up here. Do we have to move? And stuff like that. So, we did talk to them when I got up there. I spoke to 3 different subjects when we did get up there, and they did show us where they saw they had a sighting. And Jay, what do I always say? You have an encounter or a sighting?
Or a sighting, that's right.
I had an encounter.
There's a difference.
Way. Jay had an encounter. A sighting is when they run across the, bipedal. You see a dogman running across the road. You're like, holy shit, what is that? And if they're anything like I was, I mean, even though I was doing cryptids way back when, in 2013, I didn't know what the heck a dogman was.
Yeah.
It's like, what am I looking at? Originally I thought it was a black bear until I came up on it. And like I said, I had a 500,000 candle power. That's what they used to call it back then.
Yeah.
Right. AC highlighters. Now they're called lumens. I have no idea what a 500,000 candle power is.
I have no idea what a lumen is. Yeah.
But the fact is, I lit this thing up with light and it ignored me like I was insignificant, Joe. Like I was totally insignificant. It had the nerve to pick up that deer piece and bite it again,
That's interesting.
The things like nothing.
It's interesting too because light does not scare Sasquatches away like people think it does either.
Yeah.
I know that through experience. You light them up, they'll continue to. Most of the time, they will continue to do their business if you light them up. And people think that'll stop them dead. They'll take off. Not true. Not true.
Well, guys, man, we're coming up towards the end of the show, man. I know we could probably go on for another hour. But, yeah, for sure, man. But I want to give you guys an opportunity to talk about your channel and what you guys got going on and where people can find you.
Sure.
We're on Facebook, the International Dogman Project, and we have different chapters. Like I said, IDP USA, UK, Europe, New York, West Virginia, North Carolina, Wisconsin, Ohio, just to name a few. Maine.
Yeah, Maine.
Maine is a very, very, very big chapter, huge chapter, actually.
New York.
And then we got the other shows, like from yours.
Yep. We still got On the Trail, Paranormal, Cryptid Research, Secret Society, The Paranormal. When Nick and I have a YouTube channel called Paranormal and Cryptid Crossroads Research. All our shows from all 8 seasons are on there. So anyone wants to check them out, that's where you go to, Paranormal and Cryptid Crossroads Research. And
we're going to be picking it up again, the Cryptid Consortium, where we talk about an individual cryptid, each time. And our buddy Gary, he comes on with us, so the 3 of us will take that apart. I also have a Facebook site, the Quad Coalition of Sciences. That's Paranormal, UFO, cryptozoology, and regular science combined. Yeah. Hoping that somebody from one of those things will give us a little tip that might, help us get a little bit closer to explaining things. Basically, we just enjoy our time out there and our research. That's about it.
That's it.
Cool, man. Yeah, well, and I can't thank you guys enough for doing this show. I know last week I wanted to have you guys on, but technical difficulties, but I got it all straightened out now. I probably shouldn't have any problems for the next 4 years if this laptop holds up the way it's supposed to.
Amazing laptop you got there. Wow.
Yeah, dude, man. It's like 10 times the laptop I was even expecting to get. But my kids came through and they helped. And real quick, last week I mentioned it on last week's shows, but I wanted to mention it again. My friend of mine, good buddy of mine, Kimbo, really good research partner, man. He was he passed away a couple weeks ago, man, and he will.
Oh man,
sorry. He was one of my buddies. Yeah, man, he's one of my buddies down here. He's gotten some great evidence and just a really, really great guy, man. But just want to let Kimbo know we're thinking about you, buddy, and
absolutely,
we'll see you one day, man. We'll see you again. But
absolutely.
Yeah, everyone else, tune in next week. I have a next show. My next show, I don't know who I'm having on, but I'll have somebody on. But you guys tune in next week. I appreciate everyone listening. If you're listening to this show tonight, I'll upload it to Spotify tomorrow evening. So it'll be on Spotify. And of course, it'll be on 365, live365.com on Nighthawk Radio. So you guys can go check out that. It'll be the audio version, but you guys check that out. And Nick and Jeremiah, man, thanks again, man. You guys are great. Like I said, I know we could probably talk for another hour.
Oh, yeah, definitely. On, Joe. Thank you very much.
Joe. It was an honor, man. Pleasure as always. And we'd like to have you back on our show, too. So we start talking to be there, too. So
yeah, for sure, man. Well, cool. You guys don't go anywhere. Everyone else, I will see you guys next week. You guys have a great night,
everybody.
Good night, everyone.